air in your house, the hidden dangers, and how to eliminate them. Most importantly, I will say, just I want to start off by saying that I really thought, from the bottom of my heart, I thought this whole air purification phenomenon and all the air purifiers was just yet another invented industry in the United States. And as you know, as my audience, you guys know me by now. I am not American. I moved to the United States 10 years ago. And it was many surprises. Almost it felt like landing on another planet, if you will. Many surprises. One of them was just like this invented problems that I was never aware of, if you will. And air, and I really thought this was like, do people really need this? I mean, you just close your doors and you close your windows and don't smoke in the house, kind of a thing, and be done with it. And that has changed, and I'm going to tell you about this in just a second, because I think it's a really important story, how my whole perception of air purification has changed because of my own experience, which wasn't a good one. But before we do that, I just want to say that we are making an offer for you to get Air Doctor at a very, very discounted price. We've negotiated hard with Peter and his team, and we basically got $300 off the product. So the list price is $629. We got a $300 discount for the Hormones Balance community, which I'm passing on to you. And then you also get $80 worth of 2 filters. So you're pretty much set for a long time. You don't need to change your filters. And this is the best offer in town. So stay until the end with us, and we'll send you the link of how you can join the community. It's valid until May 21st. Okay. Now, before I tell you my story, I want to show you a picture of my new house. I'm just going to introduce Peter as well. And, Peter, Myra, let's go back to the previous slide. Peter and I met just a couple of months ago in California. That's where we got to spend a little bit more time together. And I really appreciate his very entrepreneurial spirit, but also being a serial entrepreneur and inventor. What I love most about the stuff that he's been putting out in the market is the fact that he makes things that are expensive and complicated very simple and attainable. And I think that's one of the examples. Air Doctor is just one of the products that they have, and it's a good example how something doesn't have to cost $3,000. It can be far more attainable. So let's move on to the next slide, Myra. I want to share with you guys what happened with me. So this is the picture of my new home. And you can see through the windows, the beautiful Rocky Mountains, right? And part of the reason why I decided to move a little bit outside of the city, and even though being a young person, like I probably should be living in a city, but I've decided to be living out in the mountains to be a little bit of a recluse. And part of it is because quality of air really makes a big difference in my life. And for those of you who've known me for a long time, I lived in China for 4 years, and they were one of the worst years of my life, mainly because of the pollution, the lack of quality of food, and all of that. That's where I developed Hashimoto's disease. That's when I had adrenal fatigue. My estrogen dominance was really pronounced. And so quality of air has really been important to me. And so I moved out to this beautiful house that's on top of a hill. I'm way outside of the city. And long and behold, like literally 2 weeks after moving in, I get sick, right? I come down with a cold, which I never do. I have not been sick in 10 years. And then I recover from it. And then several days, like barely a week later, I'm sick again. I mean, can you just imagine the frustration? Like you're running a business, you've just moved to a new home, right? And you're living in this pristine house. And it's like, what's going on? And so I texted my good friend, Dr. Isabella Wentz, and she says, you know what? My dad used to be a builder, and why don't I just ask him to go and take a look at your house? And he did. And the first thing he said when he walked into the house, he says, what air filters are you using? Because this was in the winter, right? So I bought the house in October, and so all of that stuff was happening like November, December. So it started getting really cold up here. And I had windows closed the whole time. And so he said, you're basically not circulating your air at all. My heating system does not have filters. It's a very old propane system. It doesn't have anything to filter the air with. And so he says, I really think that's the first thing you should look at. And this is where we actually were introduced to, I was introduced to Air Doctor like 6, 8 months ago. And I did nothing about it because, like I said, I didn't really think it was a problem, and then, and ever since I put, I've got two Air Doctors, one in the living room. That's the picture of the living room you're looking at right now. And then the other one is in my bedroom. And not only now we're in May, right? Not only have I not gotten sick since then, but I've been feeling way better in general. Like I never feel like I'm coming down with anything. But even more importantly, I think there are times, and Peter is going to talk a lot more about that, is that stuff that you don't feel right away, something is wrong, but it's going to impact you sooner or later. And can you see the screenshot of my cell phone, right? So this is Boulder. Look at the part that I highlighted, unhealthy air quality for sensitive groups. And you were like, what the heck is going on? This is Boulder. Like everybody's so health conscious. People come here to train. Professional athletes live here to train, and we have unhealthy air. So it turns out that, whether it's fracking, whether there's different theories on it, or whether it's inverted air, who knows? The point is that I have days when suddenly Air Doctor kicks in, and you will see that we'll show you the screenshots, but from going from being blue, which shows you that it's just working on a regular mode, it suddenly becomes yellow. And I wake up and I can hear the fans are working harder. It's a very quiet unit, but suddenly it kicks in. And I'm looking around thinking, I haven't cooked anything yet. I just got up. Like, what's going on? And I look at my cell phone, and then there will be notifications about air quality being poor in Boulder. Um, so it's we're going to talk about a little bit more. Who is that going to help? I think with the onset of allergies, a lot of people are suffering from. With many of you living in big cities, having pets, mold, VOCs, off-gassing of furniture, list is long. There's so many of us who can benefit from this. Is this an all solution for everyone to make you feel amazing and healthy right away? It could possibly be, but I love to think of it as an additional tool in your toolbox that you have been learning from Hormones Balance, being part of our community, coupling that with diet, coupling that with some safe supplements, coupling that with detoxification. I think this could be an incredible tool to add to your health. All right, I'll stop talking. Peter, I would love for you. Welcome to Nicole. Thank you for making the time this afternoon to be here with us. And why don't we dive in straight to your slides?
All right. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. And my special thanks for everyone who's taking the time to join this webinar. Today we're talking about something that's really vitally important to the health of all of us, every man, woman, and child, and that's the quality of the air we breathe. I think nobody more than myself wish that there was no need for any air purifiers. I wish there was no gas or diesel cars on the road. I wish there was no outgassing of volatile chemicals from furniture or building materials. I wish all of our cleaning and beauty products were clean and fragrance free and there was no mold and no pollen and dust. But regrettably, that's really not the case. And so, we are talking about something that's just so critical to our health. And almost all of us take breathing for granted because we do it without even thinking about it. But every time we're inhaling and exhaling, not only are we receiving life giving oxygen, but we're also breathing whatever else is in the air, including all the things I've just mentioned: toxic gases, dust, pollutants, and allergens, and smoke. And these substances, they enter and irritate our nose, they pass through our air passages and into our lungs. They're deposited in our airways, and even worse, they're absorbed by the lungs. And then whatever is in the air, along with the oxygen, it goes into our bloodstream. And then these substances are carried to every organ of our body. And other than actually injecting poisons directly into our bloodstream, there's simply no faster way to deliver toxins to every cell of our body than by inhaling them. And that's why it's vitally important that we breathe pure air. So today I'm going to share some really surprising and unfortunately disturbing facts about air pollution, and especially indoor air pollution, I want to explain how serious the problem can be for your health and the health of the ones you love. And of course, I want to leave you with a really clear path of action to create a healthier home environment. I've been invited by Magdalena to share my latest invention with you for a healthy home environment. She mentioned it's the Air Doctor Professional Air Purifier. I spent 5 years researching and developing this product because I believe that everyone needs to have access to an affordable solution to this serious problem. So with that, I'll get started in the formal part of this presentation. What you're seeing is a map of the United States. And as I mentioned, air quality is something that we give very little thought to unless there's a major problem in the areas where we live. For example, in California, where I live, we've had really bad wildfires the last 2 years. But this map that you're seeing is just uh, the normal state of air in the United States. And as you can see in California, where I live, even on a good day, 75% of the entire population of California and almost half of the American population live in areas with failing air quality scores. Now, globally, 91% of the population of the world lives in places that fail the World Health Organization standards for air quality. And as a result, there are 7 million deaths every year directly attributable to the air we breathe. Air pollution is the fifth leading factor in mortality around the world. It's responsible for more deaths than alcohol, malnutrition, and drugs. It's so bad that the EPA has made indoor air pollution one of its top 5 environmental risks to our health. So today we'll be specifically looking at the quality of our indoor air. Not only is it where we spend most of our time, but it is the one place where we can actually do something to improve the quality of the air we breathe. Now, according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, indoor air can be up to 100 times more polluted than outdoor air. That's right, 100 times more polluted. And you can find that statistic right on the EPA website. Now, humans are big air consumers every day. We're inhaling about 11,000 liters or 3,000 gallons of air. That amount would fill a bathtub almost 70 times. So we're breathing a lot of air every day. And while we can survive for a few days without water or even months without food, none of us can last for more than a few minutes without air. And the reason for this is that air is the fuel for all the cellular functions within our body that keep us alive. Our hearts and lungs to our kidneys and liver, the air we breathe is circulating through all of our internal organs. And when we're breathing polluted air, we're introducing toxins at the cellular level in every cell of our body. So if we're trying to live a clean, balanced, healthy life like all of you who are listening to this webinar today are, then making sure that the air we breathe is pure and clean is one of the most important, if not the single most important thing that we can do. So how bad is this problem? Well, unfortunately, it's really bad. According to the 2019 State of Global Air Report, which was just released last month, air pollution will shorten the life expectancy of children born today by 20 months on average around the world. A new study recently revealed that Scottish babies exposed to air pollutants breathed in by their mothers develop smaller heads and shorter bodies. In a 2018 study, researchers at the University of Southern California and the University of California, Los Angeles tracked more than 1,300 preteens who were living in and around Los Angeles over a 1 year period, and they linked repeated exposure to high level of airborne pollutants from car exhaust and factories with lower IQ scores. And in another university study, researchers found that breathing dirty air causes our stress hormones to spike. Now, this explains why long term exposure to air pollution is associated with heart disease and stroke and type 2 diabetes and a shortened lifespan. Now, autoimmune diseases are a rising health problem. Many of the people listening to this webinar have these concerns, and autoimmune diseases happen when your body's immune system mistakenly attacks your own body. Now, our National Institute of Health estimates that 23.5 million Americans suffer from an autoimmune disease. Now, in comparison, cancer affects around 9 million people and heart disease around 22 million. Now, in a recent study, researchers found that breathing polluted air can induce oxidative stress and cell death, and even lead to aggravated chronic inflammation, which is similar to the body's response in autoimmune diseases. A study of air pollution in East Asia produced strong evidence that air pollutants, or particulate matter in the air, can induce liver toxicity and even accelerate liver inflammation. And doctors at a leading cancer center in London warn that exposure to high level of air pollution is causing an increase in lung cancer. And if this trend continues, within as little of a decade, the number of lung cancer deaths among non smokers will actually be more than people who smoke. Already, air pollution is the cause of 29% of lung cancer, 24% of strokes, and 25% of all heart attacks. So, air pollution is a true epidemic and silent killer. And that's not all. There's a growing body of evidence that suggests that exposure to air pollutants harms the brain. It's accelerating our cognitive aging. It's increasing our risk of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. And another study warns that children and teenagers exposed to high level of air pollutants are at an increased risk for a specific type of DNA damage called telomere shortening. This is something we have to be really concerned about because telomere shortening is associated with premature aging and an increased risk of cancer. Wow, on a little less scary note, but still quite disruptive and very annoying to our daily lives, many of you may notice that your seasonal allergies are getting worse year after year after year, and there's a scientific reason for this. Pollen levels are getting worse every year now for the last 20 years, and this is causing an increase in severe seasonal allergies. And we now have a phenomenon that scientists are calling super pollen, which is pollen that is far more harmful to allergy and asthma sufferers. And it even is affecting people who've never experienced allergies in the past. And this is due to increased carbon dioxide in the atmosphere due to global warming. So we're seeing allergies intensify for those of us who've already had them, while others who never experienced allergies before are developing them. And here's another sobering fact. It's been shown that people who live within 1,000 feet of a freeway or any major thoroughfare have a significantly higher chance of having a stroke, heart attack, lung disease, COPD, preterm births, obesity, autism, and almost a 10% higher chance of dementia. Now, in cities like Los Angeles, or other urban populations, where they tend to cluster around freeways, this is affecting a lot of us. And then for those of us who live near wildfires, like I do in Los Angeles, they release a toxic stew of pollution. This includes dangerous particles called ultrafine particles and dangerous gases like methanol, benzene, VOCs. Now, all of these things affect our heart and our lungs. Now, with all of these dangers, you might be thinking, like Magdalena was thinking earlier in her presentation, that she thought she'll at least be safe inside of her home. But regrettably, this is simply not true for any of us because if the air is bad outside your home, it's going to be as bad or worse inside your home because we're actually contributing to the polluted air that's entering our home by adding a cocktail of toxins and contaminants. And that's why the Environmental Protection Agency says that indoor air is up to 100 times more polluted than outdoor air. And this is something we really need to be concerned about because Americans spend 90% of our time indoors. So it's clear that indoor air pollution is a huge concern and it's setting us up for a whole host of serious health problems. Now I want to explain how we're making our indoor air 100 times more polluted than outdoor air. I want to start with one of my least favorite things. I hope it's not one of your favorite things, scented candles and air fresheners. Almost all of these products, plus perfumes, contain artificial fragrances that are made with a petroleum product called phthalates. Phthalates are hazardous chemicals and they're known to cause hormonal abnormalities, birth defects, and reproductive problems. The National Resource Defense Council, or the NRDC, is a nonprofit that independently tested 14 common air fresheners, none of which listed phthalates as an ingredient. But what did they discover? In 86% of the products tested, including the all natural ones and unscented ones, they contained phthalates. And all candles, scented or unscented, except the ones made from beeswax or vegetable wax, produce three carcinogens: alkanes, and toluene. These are the same chemicals found in car exhaust, and that's because paraffin, which makes these candles, is a petroleum product. According to Dr. Masudi, a chemistry professor at South Carolina State University, if a person uses candles frequently, the inhalation of these dangerous pollutants drifting in the air can contribute to the development of health risks, including cancer, common allergies, and asthma. Now, just as dangerous are the cleaning products that we use every day in our homes, especially in our kitchen where we prepare our food, or in our bathroom where we concentrate dangerous fumes in what is likely the smallest room in our homes. Now, according to the American Lung Association, many cleaning supplies can irritate the eyes or throat or cause headaches, chronic respiratory problems, allergic reactions, and other health problems, including cancer. Some products release dangerous chemicals, including volatile organic compounds, and other harmful ingredients include ammonia and bleach. And as a tip, please be sure to never mix bleach or any bleach containing product with any cleaner containing ammonia. The gases from this combination can lead to chronic breathing problems and even death. And if you have bugs visiting your home and think that bug spray is only hazardous to bugs, you've got to think again because pesticides can cause harmful effects over an extended period, usually following repeated or continuous exposure at even low levels. And long term pesticide exposure has been linked to the development of Parkinson's disease, asthma, depression, anxiety, cancer, including leukemia and non Hodgkin's lymphoma, attention deficit, and hyperactivity disorder. Watch out for bug sprays and pesticides. And then there's all the products that we use to look and smell better, including skincare and perfume and hairspray and deodorants. These all have synthetic fragrances. And remember those phthalates? They're in them too. And a special call out for nail polish, which often contains formaldehyde and toluene. We'll get to formaldehyde a little bit later, but toluene is a volatile petrochemical solvent and paint thinner, and potent neurotoxin. It acts as an irritant, impairs breathing, and causes nausea. Pregnant women exposed to cooling vapors may impair fetal development. And then there's gas. We actually add it voluntarily to our home environment from stoves and ovens and dryers. And many of us cook on non-stick cookware. Did you know that some small birds can be killed by the invisible gases released from non-stick cookware? Owner groups actually say that thousands of birds have been killed by Teflon fumes. And DuPont, the maker of this nonstick chemical, says this occurs because the birds have small and sensitive lungs. They're blaming it on the birds. In response to these concerns, DuPont's vice president of research and development says people should not have birds in unventilated kitchens. So, how reassuring is that? These toxic gases may not immediately be deadly to humans, but they're certainly not something you want to expose yourself or your children or other family members to inside your home. And what about the clothes we all bring home from dry cleaners? In most parts of the country, the solution used by dry cleaners gives off toxic perchloroethylene gas. This is highly toxic and it goes right into the air of your home as soon as you take your dry cleaning out of the plastic bags. And if you have a wood burning fireplace or stove in your home, you may want to pause before throwing another log on that fire because just like wildfires, the smoke can cause serious respiratory illnesses like bronchitis and pneumonia. It can reduce the effectiveness of your immune system, and the particles in wood smoke are smaller than what your lungs are able to filter out. They're actually dangerous ultrafine particles, 2.5 microns or smaller, and the EPA warns that long term exposure to these particles have been linked to cancer. And of course, tobacco products or whatever else you might be smoking are obviously contributing to your indoor air pollution. Now, all these things I've just mentioned are contaminants that we have some degree of control over, but also inside of our home are dangerous pollutants that we might not even know about until it's too late, including bacteria and viruses, hidden mold spores, and if you have animals, there can be pet dander, plus termites, cockroaches, and dust mites, including their deteriorating droppings. Now, I want to speak about something that is very concerning, as if what I've said isn't enough yet, and that's the dirty secret about home furnishings and building materials. As I looked at Magdalena's beautiful home earlier in her presentation, I started thinking about house paint, carpeting, furniture, upholstery, and flooring. Now, all of these things which we commonly have in our home can be outgassing volatile organic chemicals into our living space. And this can continue for not just weeks or months, but literally for years. And if you have furniture that you bought before 2006, they most likely contain a chemical called PBDE, which is a toxic chemical flame retardant. And there's another really nasty chemical that I mentioned earlier called formaldehyde. And that's the chemical I mentioned in association with nail polish. Well, it's also used in the manufacturing of building materials like pressed wood products, fiberboard, and plywood. You might remember hearing about formaldehyde from your high school science class. This is the same toxic chemical used in embalming fluid, and it is critical to know that formaldehyde is a human carcinogen. Wow. All of these sources of indoor air pollution are combining with the pollution we talked about earlier that comes in from outside your home, including common things like pollen and dust and pollutants and other irritants. Now, these outdoor pollutants don't just come in through open doors and windows, but also our modern heating and air conditioning systems are designed to bring in and recirculate a certain percentage, usually 25 or 30% of the air in from the outdoors. They're just not recycling your indoor air. Now, let's take a moment to talk about some of the effects that indoor air pollution actually has on our bodies. Now, some of the short term problems that many people experience and they never associate with indoor air pollution is sneezing and wheezing, itchy throat, nose, or skin, dry or watery eyes, recurring nasal congestion, fatigue and irritability, runny noses, and even stomach aches. But that's not the worst of it because indoor air pollution is linked to very serious illnesses, including cancer, heart disease, and lung disease. And remember, our children are the most vulnerable. So now that we've understood some of the dangers of poor indoor air quality, let's talk about the things that are under our control and what we can do to reduce the impact of these and other pollutants. Let's start with the obvious. Never let anyone smoke inside your home. Always use environmentally friendly cleaning and beauty products. Regularly clean and change your air conditioning and furnace filters. If you have gas burning appliances, make sure they're fully vented to the outdoor. Never store any chemicals, paints, or solvents in your basement, an attached garage, and of course, not in your kitchen or anywhere else inside your home. Always buy green, non toxic furnishings. That means zero, not low VOC carpeting and paint. And one thing that you need to be aware of is that most conventional mattresses that we buy are made with synthetic polyurethane foam that can outgas chemicals for a long time. So I strongly suggest that you buy natural bedding products, and natural latex is a very good choice. Finally, you should purchase a high quality air purifier for all the rooms in your home where you spend the most time, and that means your bedrooms and common areas. I want to walk you through the kind of features you should be looking at when you shop for an air purifier. Okay? The gold standard in air purification is a technology called HEPA. HEPA, HEPA, stands for High Efficiency Particulate Air. These are very sophisticated air filters that were first created during the development of the atomic bomb to capture very small radioactive particles. And HEPA filters are designed to trap 99.97% of all particles as small as zero point 0.3 microns. So let me put that into perspective. A human hair is about 80 microns in size. You can see that on the chart that's on your screen. And pollen is about 20 microns. Pet dander is 3 microns, and smoke, which has some of the smallest particles, actually similar in size to virus, can be as small as zero point 0.1 micron, which is actually smaller than the HEPA standard I just mentioned. And for that reason, there's now an upgraded filter, which we'll call Ultra HEPA, that actually goes further than the HEPA standard and removes up to 100% of the particles as small as 0.003 microns. That's 100 times smaller than the HEPA standard. And the great thing about this new Ultra HEPA is that it actually captures the very finest and most dangerous particles, the finest smoke particles, the smallest virus. And these are the particles that penetrate the deepest into our lungs and pose the greatest risk to our health. Because Ultra HEPA is new, it's very hard to find, and when you can find it, it's very expensive. In fact, you can easily spend $2,000 or more for an Ultra HEPA air purifier. Now, as effective as Ultra HEPA filters are, they're really only doing half the job because they don't remove the volatile organic chemicals, toxic gases, or formaldehyde that we talked about earlier. To remove these dangerous gases, you need to find an air purifier with an activated carbon filter, and not just any activated carbon filter. You need to look for an air purifier that has a substantial activated carbon filter that's at least a half an inch thick, filled with little pellets of activated carbon, like you see here on your screen. And in order to remove formaldehyde, which is very, very difficult to remove and extremely toxic, you need a special mineral called potassium permanganate. It's the pinkish mineral you see on your screen, and combined with the activated carbon, removes formaldehyde and similar chemicals from the air. Another thing to look for when buying an air purifier is its CADAR rating. We're filled with acronyms here, and in this case, CADR, CADR stands for Clean Air Delivery Rate. And what CADR tells you is just how much of a particular contaminant is removed from the air within a specific period of time, and it creates an objective numerical score so you can compare one air purifier to another. There are three types of pollutants that CADAR measures, since they represent different sized particles, and they are pollen, which represents larger particles, dust, which represents the middle sized particles, and smoke, which represents the smallest particles. Now, the CADAR rating that you're looking at above is from an inexpensive air purifier, the kind you would find typically at a big box store like Walmart or Target or Costco or Home Depot. But to have an impact and to have an air purifier that's properly sized for a large bedroom or a common area, you really need to look at an air purifier with a CADAR rating that's over 300. So let's sum it up. When you select an air purifier, make sure it has an ultra HEPA filter, one that will remove particles down as small as 0.003 microns. Then you need to have a large enough activated carbon filter that's capable of removing a wide variety of chemical and gas contaminants. And be sure to look for that mineral, potassium permanganate. And then make sure you have an adequate CADAR rating, so your air purifier will cover a large enough area to actually be effective in your home. That CADAR should be over 300. Now, air purifiers with these features can easily cost you $1,000 or more, and they're only available online and at specialty retailers. When I realized how expensive these air purifiers were, it just didn't seem right to me that only people who could afford $1,000 or more should be able to have access to clean, contaminant free air in their homes. I needed to find a way to offer people something that had all of these features, but at a much more affordable price. And I spent 5 years and invested a substantial amount of money to develop an air purifier that does all of this. And that I'm very proud to introduce you to our Air Doctor, which is a professional quality air purifier with all of these high end features and even more at an extremely affordable price. Let's just go through the checklist one more time. Air Doctor has a high performance ultra HEPA filter that, as I mentioned, is virtually 100% effective at removing all of the particulate contaminants from the air. This includes pet dander and mold and pollen and dust mite debris and smoke and bacteria and viruses. In fact, Air Doctor was independently tested and shown to remove 100% of the particles at 0.003 microns. Air Doctor also incorporates a substantial activated carbon filter. I like to call it the gas trap VOC filter because it is removing virtually all of the dangerous gases I've discussed. And the carbon is impregnated with potassium permanganate, which is the most effective way to remove formaldehyde. In terms of its CADAR performance, the Air Doctor has a CADAR rating over 300, which means it will clean the air in a 450 square foot bedroom, you could say, 6 times per hour. In a larger common area, 900 square foot room, it will circulate the air 3 times every hour. So this is very high performance. And the Air Doctor has some additional features you won't find in even some of the most expensive air purifiers costing over $1,000. This includes a laser air sensor that's constantly testing and measuring the quality of the air in your home. So when you set your Air Doctor to the auto mode setting, it will automatically sense the quality of the air in your home and adjust the level of filtration automatically. So when you set up the Air Doctor in your home, I recommend you simply turn it on. It will default to the auto mode and then just leave it running 24/7. And this will ensure that Air Doctor is maintaining a maximum pure environment and it will adjust itself as required. You can literally just set it and forget it. Now, Air Doctor also has an air ionizer built in that provides an additional boost by creating negative ions which circulate in the air and attach to positively charged particles, including dust, bacteria, pollen, smoke, and allergens, and causes them to clump together so they get trapped even faster. And according to medical authorities, negative ions have a positive effect including a decrease in our respiratory rate, decreased blood pressure, decreased skin temperature, as well as an increased resistance to infection, increased well being, and more. Now, this is an option you can turn on or off as you choose. There's also a change filter alert that will let you know when you need to change either of the two filters. Now, with average use, you'll probably need to change the carbon filter every 6 months and the ultra HEPA filter once per year. Now, Air Doctor also has a washable pre filter that will capture the larger contaminants like animal hair and dust, and this helps extend the life of the filters. Air Doctor also has an adjustable timer, so if you prefer, you can choose to run it only for a specific period of time. And when it's time to go to sleep, there's a little moon shaped button. It's called the dim mode, and this will shut off all the lights on the unit so they won't disturb your sleep. Now, if you've owned an air purifier, you know they can be very loud and very annoying, especially if you're trying to have a conversation or watch TV or even get a restful night's sleep. That's why the Air Doctor uses a very expensive motor and fan that is whisper quiet and much softer than other air purifiers. And some of our top health and wellness experts who use Air Doctor in their home actually say that the white noise makes it the perfect frequency to help them fall and stay asleep. Air Doctor is also a sealed system, which is very important. What that means is that the filters in Air Doctor form a seal inside the machine, which forces the air to go through the filters and not take the path of least resistance and go around them, which would just blow the unfiltered air back into the room. Many less expensive air purifiers, like those sold in big box stores like Walmart, have loose fitting filters and are not sealed systems. Because I believe that everyone should have affordable access to clean air in their home, we've put together a very special offer for listeners of this webinar. Now, you can easily pay $1,000 or more for an air purifier with all the features that we've discussed today. An Air Doctor normally retails for $629, which is already a great value. But everyone participating in today's webinar, as Magdalena said, will receive a full $300 off this already low everyday retail price. What that means is that today you'll pay only $329 plus $30 for shipping and processing, but you must go to airdoctorpro.com/hormones balance. You see it on your screen. That's airdoctorpro.com/hormones balance. Having trouble saying that. Okay. But as Magdalena mentioned, she twisted our arm, and we're going to make this great deal even better for you by offering the best value we've ever given anywhere for Air Doctor. For a limited time only, we will include two additional free filters with every order. You'll receive an additional activated carbon filter plus an additional pre filter at no extra charge. These filters cost $80, but you'll get them both for free. And this will give you everything you need to operate your Air Doctor maintenance free for 1 full year. With these extra filters, you'll receive a $700 value for only $329, but you must go, and I'll get it right this time, to airdoctorpro.com/hormones balance to get this special discount. And if you'd like to purchase multiple units for different rooms in your home, we will extend this same discount and the two free filters for as many units as you wish to purchase during this promotion.
Peter, I know you can't see that part of the screen, but we have actually the offer that is displayed right now for all the participants. You guys can click on it. It's going to take you to the page where you can order Air Doctor right away. Yeah, so just to mention, the offer is we're offering this until May 21st. And Peter, are you ready for questions? Because we've got a ton of them that came in.
Oh, I am ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. Okay. So one of this, thank you everyone for being so participative and really great questions coming in. So I'm just going to read out. One is from Gail. She says, for those of us who use solar power, no grid power, how many watts per hour or watts per day does the Air Doctor use?
We have that answer, and actually, I don't have that statistic in front of me, but
Mm-hmm.
Mara will get it from our engineer, and we'll share that with you before we end the presentation.
Okay, sounds good. Frankie's asking, is it noisy? Frankie, I'm actually sitting next to Air Doctor, literally 2 feet away, and I'm wearing a microphone, which is very sensitive. I've even put my dog away because even him walking around the floor, you would hear him. And so, and there is, I don't think you can hear any. So the answer is very quiet. In fact, I fall asleep with it absolutely not realizing that it's even turned on. It will become noisier as there is pollution in a house, and it will turn the fan will start working harder when it's like this morning. We have a pretty horrible weather here in Boulder today. It's cold. It's 40 degrees outside. Your typical Colorado spring day, I guess. And I just started my fireplace this morning, and the wood was a little bit wet, so I got a lot more smoke in the house than I should have. And immediately, Air Doctor kicked in. In fact, it went all the way to red, and then you can hear the fans turn
Yeah,
on.
when you first turn Air Doctor on, the air sensor does like a auto test, and it circulates through all the different fan speeds. So you'll get to hear how Air Doctor sounds on high and medium and low. Generally, if you run the Air Doctor like I recommend 24/7, it will keep all the contaminants in your room under control, and then it will just operate continuously at the low speed. And at that low speed, it's barely audible. And as Magdalena said, if you're burning some food in the kitchen or you happen to just blow out a match, within a few seconds it will kick up to a higher speed, and then you will hear it.
Yeah. Um, we have one, I don't know whether, Peter, I'll let you decide on this. There's a question from Crystal. I'm not sure if it's relevant to Air Doctor. She says, oh dear, sorry, the screen just jumped. Uh, okay, let me just get another one. Carol Howard is saying, I live in California and I have my windows open pretty much all year round. Yes. See, what happens is every time somebody posts a question, then the screen just jumps to the bottom. So annoying. Okay, so she's basically keeping her windows open all year round. Would Air Doctor work if the windows are open?
Okay, so about open windows. First of all, I really recommend that you use an app. Everybody should use an app to see what the air quality index outside your home is. I use um, one myself, and there are many good ones available. I use Weather Underground. You can download that app or use it online. And if the air quality outside your home is bad, you're really not doing any benefit for yourself to leave your windows open. So let's start with the assumption that the air quality outside your home is okay. I would just recommend that you keep your air doctor, not next to that window, but on the opposite side of the room. And as I mentioned earlier, even on when you have your air conditioning or central heating on, you're bringing in about 30% of the air from the outdoors anyway. And so, yeah, you're going to be bringing in air from the outdoors, and it will have some impact on Air Doctor, but it still will provide some benefit.
Great. Jane is asking, how much does it cost electrically per month to run this machine?
Yeah, electricity costs vary around the country,
Yep.
but on average, it's about $3 a month if you run it 24/7.
Yeah, I've been using it already. Hey, you guys. So as you know, I typically, well, I never recommend anything until and unless I've tried it myself. And I've had Air Doctor since February, and it's May now, so I've had it for like good 2 months, 2.5 months, and I have not seen any increase in my electricity because it's so nominal. Katie Ahmadi is asking, my main floor is open concept and I guess maybe 700 square feet. How would one unit manage all that space?
Yeah, one unit for 700 square feet is totally fine. It'll circulate the air in that entire space about four times per hour, and it's perfectly sized for that.
Great. Follow-up question from Katie is, would the two filters deal apply to each unit if I buy more than one unit?
Yes, Katie, if you buy more than one unit, you'll receive the extra two filters for every unit you buy. As long as you buy using the code, using the
Link.
link, and or order by May 21st.
Deborah is saying, is it giving off EMF pollution via remote or Bluetooth?
Uh, it doesn't have a remote, and it doesn't use Bluetooth. And in that regard, it does not have any EMF. That said, many of our customers have actually tested Air Doctor uh, for EMFs. There is a motor in Air Doctor, and like all motors, it produces some EMFs. It becomes unmeasurable once you're a few feet away from the unit. So don't put it right next to your bed. And they characterize it as having a similar EMF profile to like a little blender.
Great. And by the way, I have an EMF reader at home and I tested it with Air Doctor and I could barely pick up anything. Jane is asking, what is the difference in your air purifier versus ozonator machine?
I don't know what that, I've never heard that word. So I can't answer the question.
Okay. We had another question earlier from yesterday on Facebook. A couple of people were asking about, there are some air purifiers now in the market that do probiotic emission as well into the air, into the room. Could you comment on those?
I've seen them advertised on Facebook also. I think all the things that I said in this webinar would apply to those air purifiers also. In other words, do they have an ultra HEPA filter plus emitting probiotics? Do they have a substantial carbon filter? Is the CADAR over 300? Are they a sealed system? I mean, regardless of what else is being put into the air, it's really what is being taken out of the air that I would be concerned about. If the companies that are offering those air purifiers aren't able to answer all of those questions, then probably it's not worth something to purchase.
Yeah, the other thing that I would question, I'm just curious about, is see probiotics, like whether it's probiotics in a supplement as a probiotic in food, right? The probiotics is a form of bacterium, and it is a bacterium, period, and it needs to live on something, right? It needs sugar to live on, and so I am one. And if you're buying supplements, that's one of the things that the capsules are packaged in with sufficient food for the probiotics for them to survive, right? So that's kind of this is what I'm talking about, like that reality versus invented industry. I'm wondering, like, what happens to those probiotics? What do they live on? And what is the survival rates for them to get into, for us to benefit from them? But anyway, those are just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, if we, I mean, it's probiotics are quite um, interesting, and if anybody's, I'd be curious to know what research somebody has done
Mm,
on spraying these into the air. They're really not things that we generally inhale. And also, as you mentioned, like probiotics, I mean, there are two forms of probiotics. One is probiotics in a spore form, which is like a seed, and they can survive temperature and humidity fluctuations. But if you spray them into the air, it's like spraying a bunch of tomato seeds in the air. They're just going to fall to the ground and have no active impact. I
yeah.
mean, if they're live probiotics, I doubt very much that first of all, that as you're spraying them into the air, that they're even alive. Probiotics are extremely sensitive to temperature and humidity, and they're not going to survive
Yep.
in that way. So it sounds
Yeah,
like a cute
I think
idea.
some research. Yeah, I think it's a great story. Like you said, I will be interested to see some studies behind it. All right, let's move on. We've got some other questions coming in. Angie, I missed your earlier question, which is a really great one. Do you recommend having Air Doctor if a home has a good filtration system already?
Well, that's a good question. And I think the question is, what does a good filtration system mean?
Yes.
So if you have there are very, very, very few homes that have a true HEPA, and certainly not an ultra HEPA filter built into the system, because these filters impede the airflow so much. You would need a huge blower in a central system. The few homes that I've seen that have a HEPA filter built in, they actually divert about half of the air around the filter, and so you're only filtering half the air at a time. So I'm skeptical that there really is a whole house filter that is up to the HEPA or the ultra HEPA standard. But if you happen to be one of the few lucky people who have that, then I think you're just fine.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Um, Carmela, sorry, is asking, what's the difference between HEPA and PECO, PECO?
Wow, this is a highly technical question, and these pico filters, um, they're
I warned you, Peter,
yeah.
about this
So
audience.
there are a couple of air purifiers out there that have this pico technology, and pico technology is a catalytic filter that helps deactivate volatile organic chemicals. And so pico filters they deactivate a certain percentage of volatile organic chemicals in the air, but they do nothing for particles in the air, and that means smoke and pollen and dust. And I'm very skeptical about the claims that are made by these Pico filters. There's one very, very expensive filter called Molecule that uses this technology. It sells for, I think, $800. We purchased one and sent it to an independent laboratory, the leading laboratory in the country uh, that tests air purifiers, and its performance was less than 20% of an Air Doctor. And if you ask these companies uh, that sell these Pico filters for their CADAR rating, they're going to tell you a long, complicated story about why it's not relevant to their air purifier, but that's more science fiction.
Yeah. Okay. Peter, we have a so Ildi's asking, do you ship outside of the US? I live in Canada. The answer is yes. There are Annalias is asking, I just ordered one unit, and at the end it asks to confirm the purchase. Why does it keep the same window? Did I order it or not? Is something missing? So for those of you who are having technical challenges like that, I'm just gonna post the Peter, is the your customer support email is your info@drairpurifier.com, correct? I think that's what we got from your team.
If my team gave it to you, I will assume that that is
Correct.
correct.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna post that here, you guys. So, um, yeah. So just email them and ask them whether the purchase has gone through. Do you remember offhand what are the? Do you have a standard shipping cost in the United States,
Yeah,
or does it
it's $29.95 in the
okay?
United States. Yeah.
There you go. And it's a pretty. Somebody was asking if it's a portable unit. It's not. I mean, yes, you can easily move it around. It's not heavy at all.
Yeah, Myra, how much does it weigh? Oh, it's on my computer. My computer went to sleep.
Um, Katie, so yeah, we've already answered that. We are shipping. Air Doctor is shipping to Canada. Hey, you guys. The other thing is, Carmela just answered us the questions. 18 pounds. Thank you, Carmela.
Thank you, Carmela.
um, the other cool thing is that my team just came up with this idea because Peter, we have a lot of people from around the world, and they get very frustrated that we do all these deals with companies we love, and then they can't get it in the country, and so. So my customer support team is very proactive, and they really care about these things, and they get and they really want to help everyone. So we've just discovered there is a number of packaging forwarding companies that you basically order. You set up an account with them. You buy. Let's say if you're in the UK, or we got emails today from Romania and Russia. And so what you do is you set up an account with them. I'm going to post these names here in just a second, and we're going to add this to our emails as well. And what happens is that you set up an account with them, you purchase their doctor, you ship it to their address, and they will forward it to you. Obviously, that's going to be shipping charge to it, right? The other thing you can do is what Peter shared about the different criteria for selecting an air purifier. Perhaps there are good economical ones that are available in your country. So check it before maybe you do international shipping.
Yeah. I think the other thing I would mention also is if you do use it in another country, of course, we all have different voltages and different plug types in different countries. So, where we have 110 alternating current here in the US, and in Europe it's 220, and in
Oh, yes.
Japan it's 100. And so you're going to have to make sure that you're using the right adapter so that you don't burn out the motor.
Right. Okay. That's a really good point. And so probably, yeah, I think for something like Air Doctor will probably be, if it's outside of Canada, you might want to be looking at a local option. Kat is asking, sorry, where was this? Shipping cost to Canada. Oh, sorry, she was asking about the shipping cost to Canada. Do you guys know what it is offhand?
I think it's an extra $10.
Okay, so about 39.
Yeah.
Lydia is saying, how long does the one filter last for just about?
The 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 ultra HEPA filter will last about a year, and the carbon filter will last about 6 months. And since you're receiving two carbon filters, you won't need to purchase a replacement filter for at least a year.
Great. Kat is asking, what is the money back guarantee if the unit doesn't work for her?
If you don't like the any of you skeptical people out there,
Yeah.
I invite your skepticism. Feel free to go ahead and purchase Air Doctor, and if use it for 30 days. And if you don't like it, send it back, and we will refund your purchase price.
Okay. And do you have a time limit on that, Peter?
Well, it's 30 days.
30 days.
So
Okay,
yeah,
sorry. Okay. I'm
yeah,
just looking at questions while listening to you.
no worries. Hey, Mark, can you just check with Jessiny and ask her what the shipping is to Canada?
Did you manage to hear back from your engineer about the watts?
What I have is that on high, on low, which is where you'll normally be running it, it's 11 watts. We don't have a per hour rate, but it's 11 watts. And whoever asked that question probably knows how to translate this. And on high, it's 95 watts, but you'll very rarely run it at that speed.
Right. Kim is asking, why is the warranty only for 1 year?
In order to keep the product at an affordable price, we have a 1 year warranty. For those of you who prefer to have a longer warranty, you can purchase a 5 year warranty for an extra $49.
Okay. That is Gail is saying thank you for the watts answer. And I will say, one of the things that I found really interesting when I was talking to your marketing guy when we first got connected was why you guys got out of retail and you went into working with influencers and directly online. And I want to share this with you guys because I think this is really important. I had I have so much more appreciation for people who make anything, including food and products, and try to sell it through retail because it is a brutal industry. I never really realized that until I met a lot of friends who supply to Whole Foods. And the way retailers squeeze manufacturers, makers on prices is disturbing. I mean, to a point where my friends, for example, who make food, they go, this is coming out of my profit margin. And all your like the Prime, the Amazon Prime thing that we now get a discount at Whole Foods, she goes, this is coming out of my margin. The $5 you were saving, that's 30% of my profit, which is what keeps my team going. And she goes, and then, I have two choices, right? It's either I increase the price of a product, which makes me uncompetitive, or I'm gonna go and start making use cheaper ingredients to save cost, right? And so who suffers at the end of that? It's us customers. And so I was very compelled when I connected with your guy, with Jeff, and he said to me, why you guys got out of retail was because of how the retailers, I mean, talking about all the big national retailers we all know, have been squeezing so much of a profit margin that you literally can't make a good product with a solid quality. And so I so appreciated that because that's where you can still run a profitable company, have a good team, and develop, most importantly, an excellent product and pass on the discount to us as consumers. And so I wanted to share this with everybody so you appreciate the fact that it's a 1 year warranty, yes, but it's also an incredibly competitive price.
Yeah, we've been operating in our own office. We have about a 15,000 square foot office, and we have many Air Doctors running 24/7 throughout our office space. We're in I don't know how many stories this building is, but a multi-story office building. And we've been operating them for at least 3 years now, and we haven't had a problem with any of them. We simply replace the filter when the clean
Yeah.
filter light comes on.
I'm gonna just check 2, 3 more questions, and we have to wrap up because I actually have to go. Sue is
Okay.
asking, any potassium oxide that's being released into the room?
Could you say that again? I'm sorry, someone put a note in front of me and distracted me.
any potassium oxide released
Oh,
into the
no, 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 no,
no.
no.
Okay. Helena is asking if something goes wrong with the machine. I'm in Canada. Where do I bring it?
If something goes wrong with the machine, you just contact us, and either we'll troubleshoot it, or if it's during the warranty period, we'll replace the machine. So you just call our 800 number, and our customer service people will accommodate you.
Yeah. Kat is asking, is as the unit is running, does it give off any smell? Kat, as a user, no, it doesn't. When you first open it up, it's got that new smell thing, but it just literally vanishes in 5 minutes. Katie Ahmadi, our most prolific uh, participant today, is asking, on my main floor, there is 700 square feet. It also has open doors to my bedroom, office, and son's rooms. The bedroom door gets closed at night, so I'm assuming separate ones would be recommended for those. What
That
about the office? Does it need its own?
well, Katie, I'm used to having lots of questions from people named Katie since my wife is named Katie, and so I appreciate your asking all these questions. And yes, if you close the door, you need a separate unit for that room, or if you feel comfortable moving Air Doctor, as we mentioned, it weighs 18 pounds. You can just move it from one location to the other if you prefer, whatever you like.
Jane is asking, what is the extra pre-filter for dog and cat hair?
What is it? Well, the pre-filter is like a spongy type material, and it attaches to the carbon filter. We recommend when you change the carbon filter that you change the pre-filter, because you will be, that's the one filter that probably once a month, you're just going to want to either take and shake out. You can rinse it underwater, or you can vacuum it, but it will also deteriorate over time. So you want to replace those two filters at the same time.
Sue is asking, does the unit come with filters or do you have to buy extra ones? Sue, it comes with filters. It's
Yeah.
a complete unit.
Yes, we're generous people. It's like when we sell a car, we always include the motor, and with the Air Doctor, we also include the filters.
Okay. Kim is asking about the dimensions. Kim, we have it on the website, but also if you saw me doing Facebook Live this morning, I'm sitting right next to it, so it's basically like a sizable box. It is an elegant unit, and so when you put it in your room, it actually kind of fits in nicely. It's very aerodynamic. It looks very elegant in the room.
Yeah,
All right,
for
you
those,
guys.
yeah, the exact dimensions are 16 by 8 by 23.
There we go. Great questions, you guys. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you so much, Team Peter and Myra and your whole team who helped us to put this together. I hope you guys take advantage of this. Really, my wish is for every Hormones Balance community member to have an Air Doctor in your house, adding that as a tool to your toolbox of living an anti-inflammatory life, helping your health, but also that's going to be something that's going to tremendously help your hormonal health in an indirect way. But who wants to be sick, right? Who wants to be having episodes of allergic reactions and having colds and such? Thanks everyone for being here today. The replay is going to be available in a few hours. We're going to send you a link with that. So if you haven't caught the beginning, then you can do it then. And we'll hope to see you soon on Facebook Live and our emails. All right. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.